In the third video of our series, we're now going to start to dive in to the transaction table itself and show you how to actually start working with all of these transactions. So once you're inside Ledgersync, you're in your client and we selected the transaction table. We've also selected the account that we want to be working in. And you're going to notice again, as we talked about in the other videos, that you'll have rules that are applying. The blue being client-based rules, the green being your global-based rules. You'll also notice at the very top up here, we've done the best we can to try to make this as comfortable as it is for QuickBooks Online, based on the idea of for review, categorized, and excluded. Now, no matter where things land inside of here, we also have all to where you can always see all transactions no matter what. So the concept of this, of course, is as you set up, and if you're going through the very first time, you're going to have transactions across multiple months, as you can kind of see here. You would go through and you're going to process all of the transactions, selecting the ones that once you agree with that they're okay, you will select and approve them and be able to move into categorized. Now you can select these one at a time, or you can select one and of course do the shift, come to the end, select, and it'll do batch select. Once you like how these are set up, you go accept or exclude. Accept, of course, is going to move them to categorized. Exclude will move them to excluded. We're going to move these to accept on purpose, of course. Now, once you do that, you will see a list of all of the transactions as you accept them into this categorized area. And we've also added on a column that says synced here that will show you when you have or have not synced data into QuickBooks Online. Under our filter here, we have the ability to choose a not synced. Because I'm making this video with data I've been playing with, it's showing as if things have already been synced, so everything's disappearing, but in your books, you would not see it. The intent there is that once you have processed the data, this option will make it very easy for you to know what you would need to then take, select, and be able to ultimately push and sync into QuickBooks. So I'm going to take these couple, I'm going to push them right into QuickBooks so you can see it. So let's go to the setup here that we've got. When I do the sync, I can click go to QuickBooks, boom, and it will immediately start pushing everything right over for us, of course. Once the stuff is pushed in, and it will take just moments to do it usually, we will be able to take a look inside of QuickBooks Online, and any transactions that are pushed in, if the same transactions are sitting inside the bank feed area, assuming you've already had this connected inside QuickBooks Online, you'll start to notice they will show up as matches instead. The other nice thing with this, I'm going to go to the top here and show you some of the things we just pushed in. Every transaction we push in, we add on at the very end here this little extra snippet, an up caret, plus LS imported, because we're pushing everything directly into the general ledger. We do this so it's a little bit easier to recognize the pieces we pushed in comparison to something else. It's a way to do some extra sorting and searching and so forth. Okay, so we'll hit exit out of here. And again, with this setup, our goal is, obviously, if you've already been using QuickBooks Online bank feeds, we understand we need to demonstrate to you that our system works just as good, if not better, than what you already have. So with the bank feeds connected, you'd be able to, at the end, let's say you're processing things every month, you would process everything, start to see everything's are set up as a match, and you could do one of two things. You could either select matches, especially if they're one-to-ones, or ultimately, if there's multiples, you could come in and exclude these, all the way to the point where you feel fully comfortable, our system is working great, and you don't even need to use any of that stuff. Now, let's go ahead and go back over to Ledgersync, of course, and show you a little bit more of the detail here. So, of course, if you have transactions that are inside of here, and you made a mistake and you needed to undo them, you can, of course, select, go through, undo, and push it back to the for review. Keep in mind, if you do this, it will not undo it from QuickBooks Online itself. Okay. We do have inside of our audit log at the top here, the ability to see everything that we're doing. So in an earlier video, we talked about kind of creating vendors, everything else. So when we create a vendor, we can see a link. When we push transactions in, we can click on this link and it will take us directly to that transaction inside QuickBooks Online. The intent of that, of course, is so you can see what's been pushed, and in case there's ever a situation there's duplication, you have a way to get to something to be able to remove it. If we go back to our transactions again real quick here, under for review, let's say you have a transaction that doesn't have anything set up yet. You can, of course, go through here, start to assign a different name and a category, and then immediately create a rule off of it as well. So let's, I'll show you to the basic parts that we'll call meals here. Then click in, McDonald's. It's there, select it. And now if I wanted to, I could click create a rule to go through and create an actual client rule. That rule would then be in the client level, and then you could choose if you wanted to bump it up to make it a global rule. Part of the reason we have the ability to actually create excluding or to exclude certain things, there will be certain scenarios where if you're using, let's say, Intuit Merchant Processing and Intuit Invoicing, you may want to be able to take certain transactions and immediately exclude them, since QuickBooks Online is going to already create those transactions for you. So this is a way you'll be able to set up and to be able to avoid any concern about duplicate transactions. Now, in the next video, we'll actually go a little bit deeper into some of these aspects of excluded, how you can control some of that stuff, and help answer some more questions on how to be more efficient with this whole process.